Snow fell relentlessly over the small town of Pine Hollow, blanketing the streets in a soft, oppressive silence. The town had always been quiet during the holidays, but this year the stillness felt heavier, almost watchful. The warm glow of lights from cozy homes lined the streets, but behind the windows, shadows seemed to stretch longer, twisting unnaturally in the corners. At the edge of town, nestled between skeletal pines and the frozen river, stood the old Pine Hollow orphanage. Its brick walls were cracked with age, ivy creeping up like black veins. Inside, the children had been gathered around a small Christmas tree, decorated with ornaments that were chipped and faded. The fire in the hearth sputtered, casting flickering shadows on the walls. Among them sat 12-year-old Clara, her brown eyes wide and unblinking, her small frame hunched over the thin blanket around her shoulders. Clara had been at the orphanage for as long as she could remember. The other children whispered of the Christmas spirit, an old legend told by the staff to keep them quiet on long, lonely nights. According to the tale, the spirit would appear to lonely children on Christmas Eve, granting one wish, but at a terrible cost. Clara had always been too scared to believe it. Until tonight. The air in the room grew colder, and the flame of the fireplace flickered violently, as if caught in an unseen gust. Clara shivered, her teeth chattering. She wasn't sure why, but something felt wrong. The other children were playing quietly with wooden toys, their laughter hollow. Clara's gaze drifted toward the tree, and that's when she saw it. A shadow, tall and impossibly thin, hovered behind the tree. It wasn't a person. Its outline seemed to waver like smoke curling in the wind. Clara's breath caught in her throat. The figure stepped closer, and a cold, whispering voice filled the room. "Clara, lonely one, you called for me." Her heart pounded, and her hands trembled. I didn't call anyone," she stammered. "You did," the shadow replied, its voice weaving through the room like icy fingers. "You had wished many nights to have a family, to belong somewhere, to have warmth, love, and a home." But now, hearing the voice, she realized wishes were never free. The figure leaned closer, and the temperature dropped sharply. Frost formed along the window panes, spreading like a web. The children began to whimper, shivering despite the fire. Clara, frozen with fear, felt herself drawn toward the spirit. What do you want from me?" she whispered. "To give and to take. One Christmas wish, and your heart must understand the price." Clara swallowed hard. Her thoughts raced. Could she be brave enough? Could she risk it? I want a family," she said finally, her voice barely audible. The spirit seemed to smile, or at least the shadows around it twisted into something resembling one. "A family you shall have, but the gift comes in darkness." Before Clara could respond, the room plunged into absolute black. The fire extinguished, the candles died. A cold wind howled through the orphanage. When the lights returned, the other children were gone. The room was empty, and only Clara remained, standing before the shadow. Where are they?" Clara asked, panic rising. "Safe, for now, but not forever. Tonight you shall begin your new life." Suddenly, the floor beneath Clara shifted, tilting like she was being carried somewhere. She felt herself lifted into the air, the orphanage disappearing around her, replaced by a forest blanketed in snow. The moon glowed unnaturally bright, casting long, eerie shadows. And there, in a small clearing, stood a house, warm, inviting, decorated with twinkling lights and wreaths on the doors. Smoke curled from the chimney, and faint laughter echoed from inside. "Clara, you're home!" the woman exclaimed, rushing forward to embrace her. Clara felt tears stream down her face as she hugged her new mother. For the first time in her life, she felt safe. She felt love. Days passed, and the house seemed perfect. Clara's new family adored her. She laughed, she played, she felt the warmth she had longed for. But as Christmas drew closer, strange things began to happen. Objects moved on their own, lights flickered, and a cold presence lingered in the corners. At night, Clara could hear whispering in the walls, soft but insistent. One evening she found a small black feather lying on the windowsill. She picked it up and shivered. The feather seemed to pulse, cold to the touch, and as she held it, she remembered the spirit. Her heart sank. The whispering grew louder. Clara could no longer ignore it. "You wished for love, and you received it. But every gift has a shadow, every warmth a chill, every joy a cost." Clara ran to the living room, but the house had changed. The windows were dark, and the walls stretched higher, elongating unnaturally. Her family stood at the table, frozen, their smiles twisted into grotesque shapes. The children's eyes were black voids. The warmth of the room had vanished, replaced by an oppressive cold. The spirit appeared behind her, taller and darker than ever. "Do you understand, Clara? Happiness is not free. You may have your family, but they are bound to me, and one day they will be taken, as all who are mine must be." Clara's heart sank. She had wanted love, warmth, a home, but not like this. The spirit's shadow reached toward her family, and they shimmered, flickered, almost like candlelight in a draught. But Clara was clever, small, and fearless in ways adults often are not. She remembered the stories the other children told about the spirit, the warnings whispered in the orphanage. "You can't trap the spirit if you find its heart," one tale had said, "and the heart is not where it seems." Clara looked around, noticing a small carved box hidden beneath the hearth. She crept toward it, her breath forming clouds in the frigid air. Inside the box lay a crystal, black as night, pulsing with an eerie light. She knew instinctively this was it. With a deep, trembling breath, she grabbed the crystal and held it high. The spirit screamed, a sound like cracking ice and breaking glass. Shadows swirled violently around the room, and the temperature dropped until her fingers nearly froze. But Clara did not let go. "Return them!" she shouted, her voice ringing with newfound courage. "I don't care about the cost. Just leave them alone." The crystal flared, and the spirit shrieked, writhing in agony. The shadows recoiled, and for a moment the house returned to normal. Her family blinked, eyes wide, confused, but alive. The warmth returned, the fire crackled, the gingerbread smell returned, and laughter filled the room. But Clara knew the victory was not free. The spirit's voice lingered, faint and venomous. "Clever child, you may have won this battle, but the heart of the spirit never dies. One day you will feel the cost. One day the darkness will find you." Clara hugged her new family tightly, but as she did, she felt a small cold feather brush against her neck. She looked down. There was another black feather, almost invisible against her red sweater. Her stomach churned. The next Christmas, Clara's family remained safe. They celebrated with joy, and Clara tried to laugh as the snow fell outside. But every night, She felt the spirit watching, waiting. Sometimes in the corner of her eye, she would see a shadow stretch too long, twist too sharply. And sometimes, in the fireplace's flickering light, she thought she saw a smile that was not human. Clara had won, but at a terrible price. She had her family, warmth, and love, but she'd carried the spirit's shadow with her forever. Every wish, she realized, has a cost, and the darkness waits patiently for the day it will claim her heart. As the snow fell silently over Pine Hollow, one could almost hear it whispering, "Be careful what you wish for. The Christmas spirit always comes for its due." And somewhere in the frost-bitten night, a shadow lingered taller than the tree.